Ross, I'll start with you. Watching you now, it looks like you're in Texas on a ranch. Like, explain the environment to our audience that's listening right now.
Okay, so right now it's very scenic. Right now there's a beautiful river right down here, and there's deer running across our field, and we're in our little outdoor kitchen area out here. It's just it's a beautiful place to have the whole family, and it's kind of the Von Erich way. We've always had the whole family living in one ranch, so we're keeping the tradition alive.
Guys, career-wise, what do you have going on right now? Where can we see you next? What have you guys been doing lately? Bring us all up to speed.
Okay, so we came to Texas about 6 months ago to start a wedding business. It was a wedding venue. Originally, Ross and our MLW contracts were coming up, and so we were talking. We wanted to. I have 2 boys now. I want to show them that I did my best on the time I had here on this earth. That I gave it my all. And being in Hawaii, it's a place where you retire. We love it. It's beautiful, of course. But we almost felt like we didn't deserve it yet. So we came to our dad and said, hey, we're going to go to Texas. We're getting a little apartment up there where contracts are up, and just see what doors open. And it's easier to take bookings and things like that. My dad was like, well, hell, I love Texas. I'm coming too. Don't leave me here. And so we kept the ranch down in Hawaii. My sister Jill and her family are down there, and they're renting. We spent the past like 7 months renovating, and hands are all beaten and stuff. We didn't pay laborers. We did it ourselves. And we were glad we did it. But now we're all out here. We got this wedding business. My sister Kristen and all of her kids are here. My boys are here. We're all working as a family. And then AEW has reached out to us. We're coming up December 13th. Winter is coming. So the Von Erichs, our dream is, we want to be champions of a major company one day. That's been the dream since we were kids, and we never doubted it. But there's been some times where we've had, being in Hawaii, it was difficult, but we both feel mentally, physically, that we're mature enough now that it's time. It just feels like it's time.
Yeah. Before we get into what we're going to see tomorrow night with AEW and what that future might hold for both of you, let's talk about your time in MLW. Marshall, you just said that your contracts are up. I love the matches that both of you had. Marshall, like the matches with Jacob Fatu, the matches with Alex Hammerstone. Talk about your time with MLW and how difficult was it living in Hawaii and taking books on the East Coast for MLW?
Man, it was, we were getting used to it. Right before MLW came to us, we were leaving once a week for Texas. And then we spaced it out a little bit every 2 weeks, and it was rough on the bodies. It's hard. I'm sure you guys know it's hard to, eat healthy, maintain weight, sleep schedule. And it was brutal, after a match, getting on a plane for, 6-7 hours and then a 3-hour layover and then back again. But our time at MLW, we're nothing but grateful. Court Bauer, all those guys, they're just blessings. We picked everybody's brain. It was great for us to get TV time, because in Japan, it was strictly wrestling, the fundamentals of wrestling. We weren't working with hard cameras or anything like that. It was strictly, just wrestling. And so we're nothing but grateful. And MLW was probably, we know it was a huge platform for us, and they helped us so much. And the relationships we met, a lot of second, third generation guys in there, made good brotherhoods, and it's cool. We're continuing to see those guys, but we're nothing but grateful for everything MLW's done for us.
Guys, I don't know how to ask this question, so I'm just going to come out and ask it. In the world of pro wrestling, for you guys in this day and age, is it difficult to be a Von Erich?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously, you have people thinking that you're trying to be better than your family, but we're just playing the hand we're dealt, man. These are the cards we were dealt. We're doing our best at it, and we're not trying to outdo what the amazing things my family has done. We're just trying to make my father proud and my family proud, really.
Have you guys found the right opponents for the Von Erichs?
We've had of course we have some dream matches and things like that, but MLW, it was cool. We got to work with, great tag teams. and even on the indies too. But one of our favorite tag matches that we've got to have was against the Briscoe brothers, and that was a dream for us because we came to the Noah Dojo a few years after them, and it felt like our whole careers were kind of chasing them. And at that Ric Flair show, we were finally able to have that match with them, and that was it meant so much to us, man. And there were two dudes, my brother and I feel like we individually we're weird, but when you meet us together, we make one normal person. And so it was, we finished each other's sentences and things like that. And to meet two other brothers that were just as close. To me, my brother, we say hello and then we kind of get off by ourselves. We talk, go say a prayer. We're kind of introverted, but because of my dad, as a kid growing up in locker rooms, my dad was this big personality, or it seemed like that as a kid. So it caused us to be like a little more reserved. And then, he was our hero growing up, and then seeing two brothers, I don't know, we got really close to him really quick. And man, I love those guys, but I would love to work. Would have loved to work with them more.
Being back in Texas, I mean, Texas is, all about the Von Erichs. There's still all the stories of the Von Erich family and how popular they were in Texas. You're on the outside, you're in Hawaii. Now you're back in Texas, you're in San Antonio. And for both you, Ross and Marshall, was it like being back in Texas? And does it cast kind of a shadow over both you guys?
Man, we knew Texas has always been home. And I know when we're wrestling people, they like to use that in promos that they're not even Texan. They were in Hawaii. Hawaii was so important for our mentality. When we went to Hawaii, I know the Howley thing, it made my brother and I every day we were getting in scuffles, fight. We had each other's backs. We really we were all that we had, and we became super, super close, and it prepared us for all these things that were coming. But Hawaii, we're out in the Pacific. We found ourselves. We're in a rock in the middle of the ocean, and so there's no distractions. They're like 10 years back in time. We got a Costco, and that's about it. And so a lot of time just to be alone and to think. And so after every show, we just absorb it, think about what just happened. But like my brother said, these are the cards we're dealt. We're Von Erichs, whether we like it or not. And when we want to honor that by going out there and I know people say this, but really giving it everything that we have, and not worrying about if you're going to make it out of the match. I'm going to put everything on the line. So I'm proud of what I did.
So we can sleep at night being proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
With you said you're going to be doing something with AEW at Winter is Coming. Do you know who your opponents are yet?
No, we don't. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. We like it like that.
And you just know that you're being given an opportunity.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a big opportunity. And we're not blind. The timing of this couldn't be better. December 22nd, the Iron Claw movie comes out. We didn't have anything to do with it, and luckily we watched it, and it was a good movie. And so we're in it. Yeah, we're proud of it. But me and my brother, not a lot of people know this, but we actually got invited to go to be in it. We were at one of the final scenes. We have a little wrestling match against each other, or a little training match against each other. But and then the AEW thing, and we're getting calls from bigger people now. So it's exciting. It's exciting, but it feels like it's the right time. And
I just want to ask a question about Dad. Some people in the wrestling business, even in their private life, all they talk about is pro wrestling. But some, once they leave pro wrestling, they don't talk about pro wrestling at all. Does Dad still tell you guys a lot of stories about, back in his day?
What was funny? That's a great question, because what was funny, as soon as we got into wrestling, my dad started making so much sense. Like, he was using just the lingo, the wrestler lingo, and all that stuff. We grew up, he called it carny. We grew up, kayfabe fans are coming. We our whole lives, and but as we started doing the same towns he did, it was funny. I remember we were sitting back. We just got home from New York, actually, and we were sitting back, and he was like, "Damn, it feels like I got my brothers with me again." And it rocked me because, a few of the times, if we'll go to shows and work with people that knew our family, and it was Brian Adidas. We were sitting there talking to him in a locker room. And while we're talking to him, starts getting choked up, and he's like, "Your mannerisms are just like Kerry." And And then he grabbed my brother's face, and you're just like Kevin. I see it in your eyes. And we're on a quest to get to know our uncles and our family, and you know, and being in the wrestling world, we're like discovering them more and more every time we meet people, every show we go to. We're at that age when you know, they're deep thinkers. They were critical on themselves, and thank God I got a brother that we can talk, man. We can talk and
Accountability,
can hold each other accountable. And my dad is, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing how wise he really is and how many things he was right on. And he really was our whole lives. He didn't throw wrestling in our faces. He wanted us to pick, because, you know, we grew up in Texas, and I'm sure it was painful, man. He grew up the same field, the same farm. We grew up in the same farm our uncles did. And I'm sure those memories constantly were going to my dad's head, thinking of his brothers that we played on the magic tree, that we called it the magic tree. It's the same tree my uncles played on. And we grew up falling out of it, you know, chasing each other around it. And as I got older, I was like, man, Texas must have been painful to my dad, but it wasn't Texas. It was that spot in Denton where we grew up. And then when we got into wrestling, now that's all we talk about.
Yeah, guys, I've been on this show now for 6 years with Dave, and I don't think I have ever heard anything that like gave me chills like what you just said about you're on the road with your dad, and he told you like he felt he was back on the road with his brothers, and how he can see Kerry, you know, and Kevin, Kerry, and the rest of your brothers in you guys' eyes and the way you speak. Like, that's, I don't even know the right word for it. I mean, that must be such a, for your dad, it must be so great.
like transcendent, man.
100%. There, for every wrestler, there's a war going on inside you. Do they like me? Am I good at this? Is this meant for me? And then when you hit these are our heroes. This we grew up looking up to, and our dad was the last one. My mom always told us, it was like, believe it or not, I know your dad's, because my dad he loves to embarrass us. We go out in public, you know, he's real funny. But my mom was like, you know, there was 5 others like him. They were just like him. And he's like, when you took them together, like my dad, it seems like he came from a pack, you know, a pack of wolves. You know, they were no sisters, they're boys, they were wild. And you know, and so when we hear that, when we hear stuff like that, it's confirmation that, man, this is where we're supposed to be. And the reason we think the way we do, like I love my brother more than anything. I know he loves me, and it's like as long as I have my brother, I'm good. And for my dad to have this and then lose it, dude, it makes me love that guy so much. It puts a bubble in my throat, and so it's just God bless him.
And also, you know, when you're growing up and you're in your teenage years, your natural proclivity is to kind of, my dad didn't really know stuff, whatever. But as soon as we started getting into wrestling, it's like we were totally reintroduced to my dad, and like got to know him in a totally different new way. And it just like, it came to life. It really did. And we've never been closer with our dad. And it's just so awesome. He's getting to see this and experience it with us. And he's going to be at the show. And
that's the biggest thing to us, is that he's going to see it. And that's all. I just want him to see it. I want to make, I know it's a dream, but we want to.
He believed in us the whole time. We just want to say, hey, you were right, Dad.
You were right. I want to bring some belts home and say, here, Dad, you were right. We love you. You know, that's the dream.
Wow.
And you know what? You guys are kind of going to live that dream tomorrow night. AEW, it's a big show, national audience. This is a great opportunity. I know your dad's going to be there as well. Like that is like, even if you just have that opportunity, that moment, it's going to be I mean, if there was any reason to watch AEW Dynamite, to see that moment tomorrow night, that is going to be extremely significant for you as wrestlers, for you as sons, you know, your dad. I mean, do you understand how big that moment is going to be tomorrow night for Dynamite?
It feels big, and it almost feels like it's like it's destiny. We really feel that it's time, and I don't know, we've never felt more ready. This is the first time my sons are going to watch me wrestle. I got 2 little boys. That my nephews are coming, and my sons are in love with my dad. They follow him everywhere. He's got them with him all the time. And this is going to be an extremely beautiful moment. You know, it's going to be beautiful for the fans to see, you know, 3 Von Erichs in the ring together. And that's going to be awesome. But it's going to be just as beautiful for the family and us to witness this. I'll never forget. And Bully, you were there, the TNA show with my dad at Summer Slammiversary. That was the first time we got in the back that wrestling sort of hit me how powerful wrestling really was. Because it was the first time we were so joyful, but words wouldn't come out. Right when we made eye contact in the locker room, nobody could talk. Because I just realized that now it's probably way deeper for my dad than it was for us at that time. We were, you know, green, young, big show, nervous as can be, telling Dad, I'm just not made for this. You and your brother, you and like Uncle Dave and Uncle Kerry, you guys were like, you guys had it, Dad. We're just blood, you know. We don't have it, Dad. And he's like, watch me. Yeah, you have Von Erich. The Von Erich blood is in you, and he believed in us, and he was right. And now I'm starting to believe it, man. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
Guys, I got to tell you, listening to you talk, hearing the passion in your voices and how bad you want to do this for your dad and how proud you want to make him makes me want to pick up the phone and call Devon and tell him, let's go work with the Von Erichs.
Oh, that would be a dream come true.
Me and Devon don't have to do a fucking thing because we did it all. But listening to you guys talk makes me want to work with you guys. Makes me want to beat the shit out of you and make you sell like a Von Erich and show the people why you belong. That's how inspired I am by your words and listening to you guys have your heads in the right place, because so few of the boys have their heads in the right place these days. So good on you.
Man. And don't get me wrong, wrestling has kicked our ass, and freaking it'll humble you real quick, and life and the you know, people see the high points of
the glory
our career, but they don't see, like, you know, scrubbing piss off the dojo in Japan, you know, like, you know, it's not all glorious and glamorous. We had to really come together. Like, do we want to keep doing this, man? You know, we've had so many of those moments, and it brought us to here, and now it just made us so mentally, you know, tough. We're ready for anything.
And coming from you, Bully, that means more
you
than words can explain. I'm terrible with words, but we've had action figures of you. We grew up loving you. And you know, when we were kids, my dad took us to Raw or SmackDown. We wanted to see you, and we wanted to see you and Devon real bad. For some reason we left early or something, but I was heartbroken. My dad telling my dad, man, I love these guys. We used to watch you all the time. And so me coming from you, that means more than
I slammed him through so many boxes and stuff on the trampoline. Yeah, it's unreal, man.
Yeah, you're a huge part of our childhood, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
You know, next week, obviously what we're going to see tomorrow night is a big night. Next Friday is the premiere of the movie in theaters everywhere. And I can't wait to see it. You know, I grew up watching World Class Championship Wrestling. I grew up watching your dad and your uncles in the ring. And I can't wait to see the movie. I already told my wife, Violetta, next Friday night, we're going to the movies and you're going to watch wrestling again. But this is going to be obviously in a completely different way. And I'm very hopeful of what this movie is going to be. And the reason why I'm hopeful is, guys, like, every time we've spoken to your dad here, even talking about all the tragedies that happened, he always ends, and Bully, you know, he would always end saying, man, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Like, and he would talk about, like, where he is in his life right now, and just that he was able to have the time with his brothers that he had. So that makes, I know that this movie is going to be very difficult. I know this movie is going to be very emotional, but knowing that your dad feels that way, it makes me very hopeful what the ending of that movie is going to be next Friday night. And you guys know better than anybody, he's one of the most positive people in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was nerve-wracking going into premiere it as a family. We all went over there, and my sisters had a harder time, and my mom, there were just so many question marks. And my dad was like, if anything, they'll Google the real story, and I'll talk to him. But we ended up watching it, and it was there's, you know, it's based on a true story, so there's a few chronological inconsistencies, but there was one part in the movie that my dad told us in confidence. I don't think he ever told anybody in an interview or anything, of a dream he had after my uncle Kerry passed, that was so heavy that we almost had to leave the movie theater. And my dad was like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe that it was in there. And it was right after my uncle Kerry passed. My dad was holding his body, and he was, every time he closed his eyes, he'd think about the times when they were kids, and just how my uncle Kerry was so happy-go-lucky, like a big bear. And my dad loves him, my uncle Kerry, so much. And so he's looking at his body, and he closed his eyes, and he saw my uncle Kerry in a rowboat going to a boat dock, and all of his brothers were there waiting for him. And he gets there and he embraces them. And the scene in the movie was so heavy.
Yeah, that was in the movie, and that was confirmation to us, because we never told anybody that story. My dad never told anybody.
The tearjerker was my uncle Kerry said, "Where's Jackie? Where's my little brother?" And Uncle Jackie's 6 years old. He comes out behind my Uncle Dave's leg, and they're brothers again, man. It's heavy. Usually I can't even talk about that scene without getting choked up, but my dad and I couldn't talk about it together because it was just so heavy.
Wow. Guys, based on what you know about your grandfather, Fritz, what advice do you think he'd have for the both of you right now?
Yeah, man, that's a deep question. I love my grandfather so much. Or Ross said when I was 4 and 5, he'd pick me up, and he called me towhead. He'd pick me up and take me on the tractor, and I spent time with him all the time, because our baby pictures are, we look identical.
He's like a spitting image of my grandpa when he was younger.
Yeah. I love my grandfather so much, and it's, as kids, he loved us grandchildren. He treated us, he'd just sit there, and the littlest thing would make him laugh, and
we just saw him as a jolly, good time, fun grandpa.
But that's another thing. I always have that in the back of my head, and I don't know how to answer that. That's always in the back of my head, is I want to make my grandfather proud too. He's the man I look up to the most. He's the father of them, and so I want to honor him in every way I can. And the only way I know I'm doing that is by trying as hard as I can, putting everything out there, the meet and greets, like all of it. When we're there, we're on the clock, and we're Von Erich. So we didn't pick this name, we didn't buy it. It was given to us, and we didn't deserve it. And so let's honor it and start deserving it.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been one of the most powerful interviews I've ever been a part of, and I think I'm speaking for Bully too. I can't wish you enough luck. I can't give you enough good wishes. I can't wait to see you both on Dynamite tomorrow night for AEW, and I can't wait for the 22nd to see the movie on your dad and your family. And you guys have an open door policy anytime. And and really quick, before we let you go, you said you do have the business. Please promote anything you want to promote. Take this airtime. We're national. Promote anything you want to promote to our audience. It would be great.
Yeah. If there's any wrestling fans out there that want to get married on the Von Erich Ranch, we're up in Bernie, Texas. It's a small town, good people, and it's right on the property, so we'll be a part of your wedding. I'm usually grabbing my dogs, because my dogs will run over there to the venue and disturbing the wedding, so I got to go and pick them up half the time. But you'll see us. We'll be a part of it. But yeah, man, it's follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Ram Von Erich on Instagram, Marshall Von Erich on Twitter, Ross Von Erich, and it's December is a good month for the Von Erich, and so
we're making a comeback. That's it. That's the story. That's going to be the happy ending that we're all hoping for, and we want the fans to enjoy it with us and tune in and watch the show. AEW, and we're excited, man.
Texas, let's show AEW that Texas is still Von Erich country. So we're coming. We're excited.
Guys, good luck. I wish you nothing but success. And if I can ever do anything for you, do not hesitate to get in touch with me.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Bully.
That means a lot.
Brother.
Thank you so much.
You
God
got
bless you guys. We love y'all.